What else have I done with the story? I use it a lot in teaching, and in Canada I often take themes or issues that are of interest to Canadian students and Canadian teachers, because otherwise they won't listen to the story. So I try to link it to things that are of interest there. And one very simple and strong link is the fact that this is a story about pioneers that the Chola king sends into Kongu Nadu to start agriculture. And the pioneers, when they get to the edge of Chola Nadu and into Kongu or Ponivela Nadu, they discover that there are people already living there, but they are not agriculturalists. They are artisans and they're hunters. And so there's a clash between the allies of the Chola king who are trying to extend his influence and the artisans and the hunters who were living there before. That's for sure historically accurate because there's extensive archaeological evidence for that, and it happened in around the 10th, 11th centuries that the Cholas were trying to expand. So in Canada, we have the same history of colonial kings sending out their people to colonize and to take over land that really belonged to tribals. So you know that in Canada, what you would call the Red Indians were there first. The British and the French sent their pioneers to start farming, and there were clashes between the pioneers and the native peoples. Understandably, the native people don't want to give up their forests and their hunting to agriculture, which they don't have a lot of respect for. So that is one very helpful link, and teachers in Canada are happy to show that this problematic history that we have in Canada, the British and the French clashing with the native cultures, is very similar to a story from India where basically the same thing happened. So that's one link that I make. And another link that I make is with the fact that there are 3 generations in the story: grandfather, father, and the 2 grandsons, sons or grandsons, depending on how you call it. Well, Canada is a country of immigrants, and we have thousands and thousands of families who are first generation, second generation, or third generation immigrants. So if you look at the story from that point of view, you can see quite easily the first generation are pioneers. They struggle. It's not easy if you uproot your family and you go to a distant place and you try to start over again. Of course you're going to struggle. Of course you have to start, at a simple level. You'll have a simple house and, have to work hard. But in the second generation, very often immigrant children are very successful, more successful than families that have been in Canada for generations. Why is that? They pick up somehow on their parents' hard work and their parents' passion to integrate into the new society, and they become the teachers, the doctors, the accountants and other professional people in society in the second generation, and they usually earn well, and they now live in bigger houses and they're better off and so on. So in the story, same idea, the pioneer generation struggles. The second generation, the son of the pioneer, becomes a small king. He has a nice palace, he has beautiful fields of sugarcane and rice, and he's quite well established, and the Chola king actually gives him a little crown and congratulates him on his success. So he's very much like second generation in Canada. What happens in the third generation? The third generation tends to rebel. They don't want to be seen as immigrants or pioneers anymore. They want to be, their status is something they don't worry about anymore. They're already Canadians and well established. So now they become artists or all kinds of other professions that maybe don't make as much money, but are things that are fun to do, and sometimes they rebel. Well, same sort of pattern in this Anandmar story. The grandsons become warriors. They don't want to be farmers anymore. That's boring and that's not very, prestigious. They want to be powerful warriors with glory and go out and fight wars and, be important people. So again, I'm able to link that pattern of generational change to both Canada and the story in India. Well, I think I've talked enough. I think probably all getting tired. So I'll stop there, and if you have questions, I'll be happy